find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. Hey, what is going on? It's so good to see you. I've missed you. If this is your first time watching my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, hey, what is going on? First of all, my nose. Do you see my nose? All right, so this is what happened. So Nerdy and I were doing a round. I go in for the takedown. He's escaping, so he has, you know, like the turn and run type escape. So his heel accidentally like kicks the bridge of my nose and my nose starts bleeding. And in that moment I was like, oh God, is my nose broken? Am I still gonna be able to fight? Like, it would just be, you know what I mean, Murphy's Law. But I guess like if your nose is broken, you can't breathe out of it and it'll be gushing blood. And you know, like tomorrow morning I'll just take a look and see if I have black eyes. So it was bleeding and that was yesterday, so I can breathe out of it and we'll be fine because next week I'm gonna be fighting. So this video will be released after I fight, so my opponent doesn't realize that I have a quasi maybe broken nose. I don't think it's broken, but it's a little weaker than it usually is. All right, so I was thinking today about my journey to the cage, and I know what it's like to be wanting to fight and not really knowing like, okay, what's the route to get there? So when I first started jiu-jitsu, I knew that I wanted to get in the cage and fight MMA. I just didn't tell anybody about it because I knew I wasn't there yet with my skills in jiu-jitsu. So about 2 years after I was doing jiu-jitsu, I finally worked up the courage to go to my coach and ask him like, hey Jay, like I'm thinking about, you know, taking an MMA fight. And he looked at me and he was like, Crystal, like you're gonna have to go through 2 fight camps before I'll even corner you. So what that meant was I had to wait until other fighters at the gym, particularly one fighter that was active, had fights, and then I would join his fight camp. And my coach wanted to do that for 2 reasons, and your coach may want to do that with you as well. It was to see, you know, how durable I was and how serious I was to last the entire fight camp, and also give me more time to develop my skills. So one thing, if you're looking for your first fight, my recommendation is to get the endorsement of your gym, because basically you are going to be representing the gym. And if your coach has standards of what they will allow to be presented to the public, like they're gonna want you to be at a certain skill level before they will even like want to be associated with you. And it's definitely a lot easier to get a fight, and a promoter will take you more seriously if you have a legit gym backing you, instead of being, you know, Crystal from, you know, her garage gym. So the first step is like, just say, hey, I want to fight, to your coach, and see what your coach says. Now, the next step that you want to do is when I first started, for some reason, I thought it was like part of my coach's responsibility to look for fights and to talk to a promoter and get me a fight. But no, like anything in life, like anything that you want done, like you need to do it yourself. And from a coach's perspective, I mean, imagine you're a coach and imagine you see people come in off the street every day to start jiu-jitsu. And do you know what the dropout rate is, like the attrition rate? People say they want to do stuff, but how many people actually want to put up and will last? Right? Like it's a very, very few. So in order to be like taken seriously, you have to show the initiative and you have to be the one putting things together. And I'm gonna let you know exactly how to do that, because in the beginning, it definitely like really wasn't clear to me. So in your area, there's going to be different fight promotions. And by area, I mean, like if you live in, let's say, this state, like you may have to fight out of state. Like when I lived in Massachusetts, I've fought in New Hampshire. I had another fight that was supposed to be in Massachusetts, but then coronavirus happened. This upcoming fight is going to be in Massachusetts. and I've also been offered a fight like in Maine. So don't limit it to your state. Also look around to bordering states and figure out like, okay, what are the fight promotions? What are the names of the amateur fight organizations? And these amateur fight organizations often also have pro fights as well on the card. So once you get, you know, a list of a couple, start reaching out to them, and you can either reach out to the promoter, which is oftentimes the owner, or some of these places have matchmakers. Now just do some light Facebook stalking. And figure out like, who are these people that are posting? Send them a message and be like, hey, like, when is your next fight? I'm looking for a fight. Now, once you've put the word out, these people are probably going to come to you with different fight options. And it's really important for you to know, like, what weight are you going to fight at? And what is the timing? This is very important because you don't want to get all excited and be like, yeah, I'll take it, and just take the first offer. And you don't want to set yourself up for failure. So for example, for this most recent fight, I was offered the fight and I was weighing 148, and the fight was going to be in like 6 weeks. And at this time, I mean, I train like a lot. Even if I don't have a fight, like I am training all the time. So I'm basically like always ready. Like a fight camp, it's like I'm always in a fight camp. So you know, if you're the same way, then it's gonna be no problem. You can take a fight at any time. But you wanna make sure that you choose the correct weight class and you set yourself up for success. So at 148, I dieted down, meaning I lost fat, to 138 in like a 5-week time span, 5 or 6 weeks time span. And they initially offered me the fight at 125, but I knew that was going to be way too much for me. Like, I didn't want that added pressure of cutting so much fat, especially in this time period. And you're going through fight camp. Fight camp is difficult enough when you have adequate food supply, but if you're cutting your food supply because you're on a diet, like through the RP app, that's what I use, which is great because it will calculate like, this is your beginning, this is your end, this is your time frame, this is your body fat percentage. Now it'll give you a daily plan of this is what you should eat, and it'll calculate it based off your activity too. So it does all the math for you. So I knew that it would just be way too much to go down to 125. And if this would have been my first time around, sometimes you're so excited that you were like, yeah, I'll take it. But this is the part when you're talking with the promoter that it's like a negotiation. So he offered me the fight at 125 and I was like, no, I'm doing 130. And then they'll go back to the other team and be like, okay, she wants to fight at 130. Like they'll talk to the other team. Then you have to wait for like the other team to the team of the person, because typically the guy or girl that you're going to be fighting, they have to get like approval from their coach, and they'll discuss it with their coach and then come back to you with the answer of yay or nay. So some things they're going to ask you is they're going to be like, okay, what's your amateur MMA record? What's your belt? What's your height? And what weight do you want to fight at? So just be prepared to answer those questions like during the back and forth. And then finally, you are going to get either a yay or a nay from like the other side, and boom, you have yourself a fight. Now, all you have to do after that, so this past fight that I took, I basically just, you know, it was going to be my third time like accepting a fight, and I was just like, I did it. I have a new gym that I go to, and I just like accepted it and then told my coach kind of like afterward, because I'm the first MMA fighter from the current gym that I'm currently at. My previous gym, I was the first female MMA fighter coming out of that gym. So once you get some experience, you can just, you know, take fights. And I asked people you know, my coach is like, hey, would you mind cornering me? So you want to find, typically your coach is going to be the one that is cornering you. In my case, for this most recent fight, my jiu-jitsu coach had a wedding on that day. So I asked my Muay Thai coach, and I asked my judo coach, who also is now teaching MMA at my school. It's like, hey, do you mind, you know, being my corner? So you want to find your corner, and then after that, there's going to be a barrage of things that you need to do. So you need to make sure that within your state, you're in the state of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. I'm not sure for other states, it's probably the same with like different commissions that are regulating your state. But your state's athletic commission is going to require that your corner person or people be licensed, and it's simply called a trainer's license. So you're going to have to make sure that you have, you know, people have their trainer's license. You want to make sure that you have somebody that knows what they're doing in terms of like cut work in your corner. You know, you want to get some Vaseline, make sure your face is lubed up before walking in. You're going to have to go through some blood tests, because nobody wants to fight somebody with like a bloodborne pathogen that's like high risk. And in some athletic commissions, they require you to have an eye test, an EKG, and a scan. In the state of New Hampshire, I know they required me to get an eye exam and an EKG. In the state of Massachusetts, all I had to do was sign a waiver, and that was waived. But the blood test was non-negotiable. So that's pretty much it. I think for my first fight, the most difficult part for me was like the figuring out like, okay, like I need to go, and there's a fly, I need to go and take this upon myself and go get myself a fight. And just already know like what weight you want to fight at, and what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So if you are, for example, this is super important because you want to make sure that you're advocating for yourself and you're not just taking the first offer, that you like know who you want, the parameters of your opponent. Like you want them to fit the certain thing, and don't be so excited that you set yourself up for like potential failure. For example, if this is your first time walking in to a fight, and let's say you walk around at a weight of 135, and a fight promoter is offering you a fight at 135, and let's say you're a blue belt and it's against, you know, a black belt with 5 MMA fights under her belt, like that's probably not the best match for your first time. Like for your first time, you want to have somebody that's comparable in experience to you, in order for it to be like a good matchup. So if you're 0-0, like you want to find somebody that's also 0-0 or 1-0 or 0-1 for your first fight. You want somebody that's similar in belt rank to you, and you want somebody that, you know, is going to be in a good weight class. So if you're walking around at like 135, you're probably not going to want to accept a fight at 135 according to like the traditional way the MMA fights are gone about. I mean, I personally think that people should just fight at their walking weight, but it's, you know, that's just not the culture that it is now. Or maybe you could just be the change that you want to see. Yeah? But in any case, congratulations. If you're watching this video, you obviously are interested in taking a fight, or you just want to know the process. Your first fight is probably the hardest to get, and then after that, fight promoters will see that you have fought and you will just make more contacts, and it's like a business. The more people you know, the more owners you know, like you could just reach out and be like, hey, I'm looking for a fight. And for my last one, I was scheduled with Ammo, Ammo fight promotion before coronavirus hit, and I legit went through a weight cut, stepped on the scale, made weight at my house, was ready to drive to the fight, and it got canceled for coronavirus. So it was the same fight promotion. So when they had this next fight coming up is going to be the first time that they're holding another fight since coronavirus. So they actually like reached out to me and they're like, hey, we have, you know, an opening, are you interested? So once you get like your name out there and you contact different people, like matchmakers want a match. You know what I mean? That's like literally their job. Promoters want a full, interesting fight card. So they'll have you on the list, and you know, It's almost like a little job interview thing. But you're gonna do great. It's gonna be good for you. It's like such a great experience. I'm excited for you and I'm happy, and you know, it's such a great journey. You're going to go through like growth of like believing in yourself and self-confidence, and you know, wrestling with like the mental and physical aspect of it. But all of these challenges are so great for personal growth. You know, that's one of the reasons why I love fighting, is because it challenges me mentally, physically, emotionally, like spiritually. Like it pretty much, if you want to evolve as a person, like I love using MMA for that, because you know, nothing shows character like getting a heel to the face and being able to kind of laugh about it afterwards. But yeah. Right, but thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet and you've watched more than one video, go ahead and subscribe so it'll be easier to find me and we can connect again. And until next time, bye.